There
Uh,
we go.
we're here.
Hot
Hot
diggity.
damn. Cooking with Crisco, even. I'm waiting for it to refresh my other screen here. There we go. What's going on, everyone?
Whew. Hey, cool. There we go.
Thank you, Vanguard, for bringing it together. We appreciate it as always, brother. My shit's all crooked. There we go. Hope everyone's doing well. Maintaining what sanity you may have left. God knows that it's in short supply, it seems like. Hope everyone's safe and healthy, having a good time. How's things shaking your end of the wood, Sax man?
Oh, they're shaking. Pretty good.
All
Pretty
right,
good.
good deal. Awesome. Well, just real fast, let's get through the boilerplate shit because we have dumbasses out there that need crayons and everything written out for them, and of course the brown shirts and Facebook. Anything we say on here is strictly for entertainment purposes. We are not trying to incite violence or any anti government activity or anything else that might be deemed inappropriate by the powers that be. If you don't like what we have to say, feel free to GTFO. Otherwise, hang out, spend some time, enjoy yourselves. Feelings are not safe here. So if you wear them on your shoulder, you're going to probably be looking for a safe space in about 10 minutes.
Be just like that Conrad commercial back in the 80s.
Yes, sir. I dare you to knock it off.
I dare you to knock it off.
That was awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right. If you're wondering about the title, Doomsday the Book, some of you may not be aware, but the federal government thought it'd be great to come up with some extra super fuckery for, the citizenry of this fine country in the event that they deem there's a crisis and they need to seize control of said businesses or organizations for the greater good.
Always for the greater good.
I mean, that's what you discern from what you read, correct?
Yeah. It's exactly the same as saying it's for the kids.
Yeah, okay, sure. That being said, we'll get into that. And then once we're done bitching about that and pointing out all the fuckery the federal government's got in store for us, we'll move on over to the great state and hopefully future Republic of Texas.
Right.
And what's going on over there. Say what you will about Governor Abbott, at least he seems to have more testicles than the people who are walking around freely in D.C.
Exactly.
Just saying. So, yeah. All right, brother. Would you like to start off with the Doomsday Book and your take on
it? Well, yeah. It's basically the Fed has too much power. And I don't know, man. From what I've seen here, it also gives try to phrase this here. A lot more power to Congress and the Fed than they should have.
Okay. I agree completely. And if you think about it, this all kind of goes hand in hand with the whole digital thing, if you think about it. And if you notice too, and correct me if I'm wrong, don't they kind of update and adapt the Doomsday Book periodically, going by what I read?
I believe so. Yeah, because the one part that I'm looking at was basically 2020. It was in 23 that the dump, hey, here's kind of a redacted look at the Doomsday Book. And yeah, it gets it gets re-edited every once in a while.
Yeah, I noticed. I think after the 9/11 and some different things, you see more and more stuff um, kind of get tweaked or augmented in it.
Right.
Um, this is a little known. I wouldn't call it a damn book. It's more like a pamphlet of fuckery for the federal government. Um, apparently, this thing has been in existence for a while, and you can get a PDF of it and look at it and read it yourself. There's a lot of legalese. You have to be able to speak politicianese, basically,
Yeah.
because the way it's written, you have to think. Not even have to think. It's like your brain hurts trying to decipher it. But basically, what it is to break it down, think of it as, let's say there's another coup. Okay, let's use that as an example, because let's face it, the social experiment from 2020 kind of didn't go the way planned for 2021. It blew up in their face. It didn't accomplish what they hoped.
Yeah.
So that being said, let's say there's another one. Dumbass Simplex 37 gets loose out of some place in Botswana and infects everybody. That being said, they might implement something out of the Doomsday Book because it's for the greater good. Like we need to seize control of all the Walmarts so we can hand out Cheez-Its to everyone. Using that hypothetically, but it's dumb shit like that. Like think of it this way. Let's say some shit goes down, whether it's a national emergency or just straight up federal fuckery, and you're trying to run to Walmart to get formula for your baby, or diapers, or a shit ton of water to stockpile something. You're trying to get out there and do your part as a provider to try and wave the storm, ride the storm, rather. Well, the federal government says, oh, we can't let you do that because we want to make sure that everybody gets their fair share. So they can implement full control over said businesses or infrastructure if they deem necessary.
Right. Yeah. These are, so going by what this is saying, is basically the Fed claims to have the power to bail out cities or to even take ownership of companies, which means that in the event of something happening, and I think a lot of us have known this for a while, is that, basically we're governed by a bank. But there, anything and everything in this country can be seized by someone you never voted for.
Yep.
Somebody you've never heard of.
Yep.
And there's not a damn thing you can do about it. Well, I say there's nothing you can do about it. Actually, if
there's nothing you can do about it on here.
Yeah, on here. Yeah. Now,
pump the brakes. Pump the brakes.
Yeah, sorry. But yeah, that's and I think a lot of folks have kind of guessed for forever. Yeah, during wartime and stuff like that. But this is not necessarily during wartime. This is whenever you're hey, look who's here.
Hot damn. Holy shit.
I hardly recognize the name.
Awesome.
But I'm glad he's here.
Absolutely.
But yeah, like I say, it's, people have kind of guessed for forever that during wartime, yeah, the government can do pretty much whatever it wants to, and it does without your consent. But it doesn't necessarily have to be, wartime for this to happen.
Right.
This can be a consensus of, the regime that's in power saying, hey, you know what? It's it's time to go ahead and institute this.
Well, think about this, and I was just thinking about this. You know how you said they can bail out cities. Let's say, for instance, you have a city going bankrupt, like everything on the left coast in California, L.A., San Francisco, San Diego. They're all going to shit because of who's in charge.
Yeah.
So effectively, if the Fed deemed it a crisis, they could go into another state. Now, this is hypothetical. I'm not saying they've done this or they're going to do it. So all you brown shirts, they're spilling your latte and starting to twitch. Calm the fuck down. But in theory, they could go to somewhere like, say, let's say they go to Dallas, for instance.
Ooh, yeah.
Well, I'm just using it as an example.
Yeah, no.
They could go to Dallas and divert federal assets, or not even federal assets, well, it'd be assets once they seize control. But let's say you have a distribution warehouse for Walmart, and it's in Dallas, okay?
Right.
And all the sanctuary cities are going belly up on the left coast. They could effectively step in, seize control of that distribution, and redirect all of whatever they needed out of that region or out of that all the different distribution areas in that area, and redirect those goods to the cities they're bailing out.
Right.
And you'd have no recourse. Now, these are the same fucktards that want you to register your fucking chickens and your gardens.
And your rainwater.
Yeah, think that shit through.
Yep.
Why in the hell would they say the gardens are just to kind of share what you're doing? Bullshit. The government doesn't want you to share what you're doing except for their own fucking database. So when something goes tits up, they can show up at your house and say, oh yeah, for the greater good, we're going to seize your 2 acres of shit you've been planning and working on for 5 years. Deuces.
Do you see the shift since 1942 as opposed to here, when you actually had the government saying, you know what, for the good of the country, you need to go out in your front and backyard and build yourself a garden, and you can supplement your food and stuff like that, share with your community, whatever, as opposed to now where it's like, all right, if you're saving rainwater out there, we're going to fine you for that. If you're selling unpasteurized milk out there and giving it to your people in your community, we're going to fine you for that. We're going to put you in jail for that, possibly prison. And if you own a tract of land, oh my God, if the shit ever hits the fan, it's ours.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, think about this, and I know we're kind of getting off in the weeds here, but it all kind of feeds in together. This is the long game that these corrupt fucking politicians have put in place. This shit all started, in my opinion, the fuckery began in World War II. When they said, let's implement the income tax, as I recall it, correct me if I'm wrong, to help fund the war so we can defeat the Nazis in Empire Japan. Well, back then, everybody was, hell yeah, let's get it done, and we'll repeal it when the war's won. Now, we all see we got stuck dead in the ass on that one, didn't even get a minimum pillar for it. So that was the groundwork right there, because they saw that people would blindly give up shit, and they had a fucking spigot of cash that was just ever flowing. They weren't going to turn loose of that.
No.
So then let's jump forward 20 years to Lyndon Johnson, one of our favorite presidents. He single-handedly fucked over the Black American households.
Oh, yeah.
He set the groundwork to destroy
Hey,
brother?
Hey.
so I'm traveling, but I wanted to get on here for a minute.
Sure.
So you were talking about, let me get this right, taxes, right, for the war effort?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm dealing with something in my hometown which I've never thought I would deal with, but I'm going to go ahead and tell y'all right now. If you give them an inch, you'll never get it back. Okay? And yeah, they blindly got everybody to take, everybody was happy to support the war because there was pride in the country back then, but now they want to take things from you that you're never going to get back. So you think about that with your Second Amendment or your right to live on your own. So basically, you were talking about they want you to register your chickens, they want to register your garden, blah, 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 right? So our county, where I live at, is currently trying to implement something county-wide, which is basically like a giant-ass HOA situation, right? So if you don't have more than 5 acres, you can't have chickens or livestock or anything like that. Now, you want to take a guess how long that lasted?
20 seconds?
Yeah. It got to the point where the judge at the county was like, hey, look here, y'all might want to get rid of this because you're going to have an uprising. So let me tell you what spawned this, and it'll kind of put it in perspective. So a car manufacturer, I won't name what car manufacturer it is, but it is a foreign entity, happens to be building a manufacturing facility in my county. Now, said company has a 25-year agreement that they will not have to pay taxes. All right, y'all with me?
Yep.
So the county accepted that because why? Oh, because they're going to get this big company into the county, but they don't realize what they're giving up. So how do you make up the tax money? Okay, you make a county-wide implemented rule and restructure where people can't have certain things on their property, right? So what's the fastest way to make up tax money? Fines, right?
Mm-hmm.
There you go. So if somebody went down to their local farm and garden store and bought a chick, raised it up, it's a pet. They come out there and you're on 4.9 acres, guess what? You're getting a fine. You with me?
Oh,
So
yeah.
if you do not believe that communism is not being implemented on small increments all over the country, you're wrong. Absolutely wrong. But let me tell y'all, you have the power to correct this. I seen it firsthand. I went to every single one of these meetings, and I was actually a spokesperson at 2 of these meetings. Now, is the council mad at me? Sure. Is my business probably going to reap the negativity from it because I am a business in this town? Sure. Is it a big deal? No. What can they do?
Not a lot.
They gonna chase me around? I mean, what are they gonna do? I've got a lot more patience than they do. I promise you.
We are thinking adversary, too. They don't like those.
No, they want everybody to just lay down and take it. So what I've done, I went even further, and I got a buddy of mine that's running for county commissioner, and he will win. I promise you, he will win. So
Nice.
that's the mindset everybody's got to get into.
Absolutely.
You're local. It starts locally, and it's starting to be implemented on a local level. So we've all got to get tuned in and pay attention.
Yep.
If you're not watching it, a lot of people are like, oh, I'm out in the country. It doesn't matter. Look, T and Sax man knows what type of property I have. I am a compound. All right, but I'm not protected from the long arm of county commissioners. I mean, I'm not below that 5 acre mark, but the point being is I've got neighbors, that's in my small survival coalition. It will affect them.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know about y'all, but I'd like for my neighbors to be able to keep their chickens, so I'll have somewhere to go get eggs.
Right.
But you know, people's people just got to pay attention, man. I mean, it's your sheriff, the county commissioners. I mean, they've backed off of this situation because I pretty much told them in front of the entire town that, voting's coming up in a month. Y'all can kiss your asses goodbye. And I pretty much said it just like that.
Good.
That's what they need to hear.
Well, they heard it loud and clear, and that's what we got to do. You cannot back down from these people.
Absolutely.
Corruption goes deep into every city, every county.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you got to tell them that because these people, they know what's best for you. So.
Well, you got to also think about this said manufacturing facility is coming into your county. I guarantee you, somewhere, someone involved with the government right there in town or that county or whatever, there's been some vacations or some donations or something. It wasn't just for the good of the county.
Yeah, that doesn't. Yeah, yes, stuff like that runs on kickbacks somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's not a magic thing that the tax commissioner happens to be married, happens to be the wife of a said paving company in my local town that gets all of the county work. You know what I'm saying?
There you go.
Yeah, it's there. Corruption runs deep in every little town. And everybody's got to understand, I live in a town that has 3 red lights, and they're all synchronized. So if you take off at one, you can get through all 3 of them. You with me?
Right.
That's a small town.
A lot to be said for small town, though.
Yeah, I mean, I ain't throwing it out there, but there's people that's disappeared. You know what I'm saying?
Shit happens. Take a wrong turn into the ditch. I mean, stuff happens.
It's definitely a fuck around and find out situation. But anyway, guys, I wanted to jump on here, toot my little horn a little bit, get on the soapbox. I'm traveling between locations. Somehow I'm working 9 days in a 7-day work week. I don't know how I'm doing it. But,
well, it's good to hear from you, brother.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, well, I'll next Tuesday. I know I'm not going to be traveling around, so I'll plan on being on here the whole live. So that'll be great. But guys, y'all keep doing what you're doing. Patriots out there, y'all hold your heads up.
All right, brother.
Get ready. We got Thanksgiving later.
Awesome.
All right, good deal. Well, he brings up another valid point. Going back to what we were originally saying about all this shit that's been going on. Like I said, with Lyndon Johnson, he basically destroyed the black nuclear family, and he set up the whole victim mentality and being reliant on the government and ensured that they would vote. He wanted to change the mindset of it.
Right.
So he guaranteed votes for the Democratic Party. And look at how that has morphed from, 65 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
And now you've got all this fuckery that's just out in your face. And it's all the long game. And what's bad is, for whatever reason, the bottom feeding Democrats, it's like they're lockstep with everything. And any kind of fuckery that undermines your rights for the greater good, they're right on board with. It's like they don't know who fucking Charles Marx is.
Oh, yeah.
Or, Stalin or any fucking body else. They've never heard of Adolf Hitler. They don't know who the fuck those people are. I guess they think they're damn storybook characters or something. But it's been proven time and time again that socialism doesn't fucking work. All it does is make everybody a fucking peasant and beholden to the fucking government while the elite stay right here.
Right.
Okay? It destroys the middle class. And what they've done in this long game is they've successfully set every ethnic group against each other. And what's happened is because they've done such a good job at the level of fuckery that they're doing. I mean, think about it. We elect motherfuckers to tell us to kiss their ass. They don't do anything.
Yeah, exactly.
They
Yep.
sit up there on our fucking dime with a security detail, multiple fucking houses, insider fucking trading, steadily giving it to us without loot. And we're supposed to keep fucking electing these bastards.
Absolutely, because like I said before, they know what's best for you, man. Just
Yeah.
ask them.
Yeah. Brother, I would, I'd love to be a politician one-on-one. Let them tell me that shit.
Right.
They'd be drinking through a fucking straw. Or eating through a straw, excuse me.
That's all right. Eating dinner through straws.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I do.
Trying to tell me what's good for me. Fuck you. Your pedophile sick ass can't tell me what's good for me. You're too busy doing all kinds of fuckery and illegal shit yourself. Who are you to judge me and tell me what I need to do?
Yeah. If you don't do what they say, you're a dog-faced pony soldier. So.
I'm okay with that. I don't lose any sleep. Do you?
Nope, not at all.
That's what's important. So, going back to this book, though, I mean, it kind of goes lockstep. I'm sorry we got off the weeds there, but it kind of goes lockstep too if you think about the whole wanting to digitize everything. Because think about it, if you do away with currency, all right, then the federal government has control of every fucking aspect of your life. So if they deem there's some kind of social emergency, notice I use social emergency, they literally can bankrupt you because they don't like you or because you fit into a category that they've categorized you as because you're a member of the NRA, or you voted Republican, or you donated to Donald Trump. God forbid you supported Orange Man Bad.
Right.
So that's what they're moving towards. They want to have a vehicle in place where they can control everything. Why do you think they've worked so hard to fuck with TikTok and these different platforms? Again, they don't want anybody controlling a narrative. They want full control. That's not freedom. That's tyranny.
Absolutely. No,
socialism.
Yeah, it's is this socialism just path to communism? And like Vanguard was saying, you have to start fighting this stuff at the local level because you have so many people in local governments. I mean, just look around the country; they make news all the time. That they try to institute one little bitty weird, socialist program here and there, and pretty soon you turn into Portland, or name any city on the left coast, or Austin, yeah, absolutely, but there's no pushback because if you push back, then you're a Nazi, you're obviously a white supremacist, you're probably a Christian nationalist, probably got swastikas hanging up in your garage, and we just don't want to be labeled that way. But it's kind of time, instead of oh shit I might get labeled a bad racist, to okay, well now my kids and my grandkids got to live through this, whatever this is.
Well, this all goes back to what you're saying about you got to take control local level, because think about this, all the fuckery that takes place at the local level is the proving ground to get to the state level, then the federal level. It's like kindergarten for crooked politicians.
Yeah,
they start off there to learn how to use the fuckery well, and they try to make their points to get up into the state level. And as soon as I get to the state level, it's like, ooh, I'm gonna make a name for myself. I'm gonna be in Washington. Hose and blow.
Yep.
Next thing you know, they're running for Senate or they're running for House of Representatives because they've successfully garnered favor with whichever political party or crooked ass corporation or whatever they're doing. They've done some kind of fuckery. Anybody who's a damn career politician should scare the living shit out of you.
Yeah. Anybody that can vote in their own raise should scare you.
That's it. Because if they can vote in their own race, their raise, think about how untouchable they are. These are the same motherfuckers that inside trade from dusk till dawn and over the weekend.
Yep.
And it's okay for them to do it, but don't be Martha Stewart, boy. They'll slap you in damn house arrest in a heartbeat.
Exactly.
And it's like, well, okay, I'm confused, you know, and y'all do it all the fucking time. I remember when they were writing bad checks in the fucking federal government. Do you remember that fucking fiasco from the 80s and 90s?
I don't, but I don't. I mean, nothing surprises me. No.
Well, these crooked ass politicians would go, and this is before you had all the digitized shit. They would go and draw money from, say, Social Security, write a check for whatever fuckery they want to support, knowing they didn't have money to cover it, and they just pull it from whatever social program we were paying into, like a endless bank account.
Right.
I mean, that was regular. That was standard operating procedure for these fuckers. Well, they got caught in that. Well, when everything started going digital, see, it was harder to trace because they could just do everything electronically. It was harder to have a check and balance because they were all fucking doing it. I mean, go back and look at history. See for yourself how fucking corrupt our government is. Now, don't get me wrong. We live in the best country on the face of the planet as far as I'm concerned. This was once a great republic, and it could be a great republic again. But the problem with it is, do we have enough people with enough fucking balls to make it across the finish line with water?
Right. Yeah.
That's the question.
It's finding your pool of patriots that are going to be willing to right the ship. Mm-hmm. And I totally agree with you. You know, it's before we got on here, and I don't know if you could hear it in the background, but I was listening to, you know, great speeches. Okay.
The Gipper.
Yeah, that was actually one of them, and it was the one called "We're Americans."
Yep.
You know, and it is interesting looking back through, you know, the early to mid 80s and seeing all the things that we did. Mm-hmm. I mean, and even before that, I mean, you take, you know, America all the way up until about the late 60s, you know. I mean, all of the things that we accomplished and did and built things and built communities and you know, yeah, we did some, well, I say we, yes, our government did some pretty sketchy shit. But as a whole, you had a populace that loved the country.
Yep.
It wasn't diluted down. You did not have, you know, literally 60 different ideas on what's a great America as you do now, because you have diluted the pool of patriots in such a way now where you have, you know, 12 million people that have come across our southern and western border that do not have the same they don't have the same outlook. They don't have
they're not even here for the same reason.
Yeah, they're not here for the same reason. But they don't have the same vision for the country as we do.
Exactly.
And that's not necessarily all through American history. You know, we've had immigrants. Yep, every one of us, okay? or down through time. We came from somewhere. But that being said, they came here with a vision of, oh my God, I can make it so much better there. And if I make it good for the community, then I make it good for me.
Right.
Um, and that mindset is gone. Well, it's not gone, but that mindset has been so diluted down that it's going to take a concerted effort of, this pool of patriots.
Yeah.
I'll shut up.
No, you're good. You're good. Hell, say what you got to say. That's what you're here for. I mean, you make a valid point. And, the problem is that the whole situation, let's go back just briefly to 2020 and 2021, like January 6th and everything else. When January 6th happened, what happened on the Patriot Cruise? They ran the ground.
Oh, yeah.
And they ain't come back yet.
No, and I mean, but you blame them though right now.
No, I don't blame them. But what it did is without getting us flagged by the brown shirts at Fascist Book, everyone here knows, if you've got more than 10 IQ points and don't eat crayons, that January 6th was more than it was reported.
Yes.
There was much more to it. There was many more facets to it that were never brought to the public's attention or they were outright lied about.
Correct.
Okay? That being said, Patriots as a whole walked into that trap. Okay? And when they did it, it kind of, I think it gave the federal government the reason that they wanted to use the judicial arm of the federal government to do their dirty work.
Yep, absolutely.
And if you don't understand what I'm saying, start doing some searches on people getting locked up by the Fed for various shit. I mean, and it's funny because, they went after people because they might have walked through the Capitol building, or what's ironic is the fucking Capitol Police let them in.
Guided them.
Directing them where to go.
Right.
But they were breaking the law. I guess my difficulty there is the people's house.
Right.
We the people, not them, the politicians. So it's okay for a bunch of Palestinian fucktards to disrupt things and politicians to escort them in and let them do it. But let some patriots come in saying this is a fucking joke of an election, and all of a sudden there's a hue and a cry. We need to bring in the fucking 82nd Airborne to put boot to ass. I'm seeing a double standard.
Oh, I guarantee you, if the situation would have happened in, say, a Western European country, and the left wing leaning folks in our government saw that, oh my God, it would just be, we've got to send billions of dollars over there and help these people out who are storming their capital from their unjust government for running crappy elections.
Yeah, it'd be like a whole new Ukraine.
Oh yeah,
we billions of dollars of our children's grandchildren's tax money.
Yep, so they can drive Maseratis and
go to nightclubs and pick up hookers.
That's right.
I mean, hey, got to do what you got to do, right?
Oh,
Don't hate the player, hate the game. So, enough on this. I mean, I think everybody's got a good idea of what the Doomsday Book is. I know we got off in the weeds with it, but as we said, there's a lot of different things here. And in closing on the Doomsday Book, I want you to think about something. When you don't use cash, who profits from that? Now, I'm going to break that down to you. The banks and the credit cards, because they charge fees to process every transaction. Okay? If you go to cash, like we should have never gotten away from. Three things happen. One, you're more aware of what you spend. Okay. Fucking digital currency, whether it's a credit card or whatever, is how you get in fucking bankruptcy. Because it gets out of control because you've got a line of credit. Or you don't balance your checkbook because you're using a fucking ATM like it's a gumball machine. Okay. Two, you stop giving all this money to the very same organizations, like the banks, for instance, that had to be bailed out for all their fuckery with mortgages and everything else. Same thing with the damn credit card companies like Chase and everyone else. Remember back when they fucked everyone on the mortgages, 10, 15 years ago?
Mm.
They were making money hand over fist and taking the mortgage. When people would default, they were getting all that property for pennies on the dollar. And they were approving all these loans and then flipping the loans, making all that money. And we bailed them out.
Too big to fail.
Yep. There's your sign. Okay. I'm telling you, learn to carry cash. Do cash transactions when you can. I understand there's some things you need to use a credit card. I get it. Okay. Or you need to use a debit card. I get it. I understand that because of the way society's set up. But when you can, use cash. Start curbing this shit.
And
I mean,
forget.
if you want to have fun, if you're one of the people like me that just likes to fuck with people just to get amused, go into the store, carry cash, and make sure whatever you buy, there's change. Like, let's say it's going to be $1.68. Okay, give them $1, give them $2.03, and watch their shit implode.
Oh yeah.
It's like they want to hand you the pennies back, or they start having a seizure. They don't know what to do. And
yeah, exactly.
It's the funniest shit because they have so dumbed down people that they can't process simple transactions. I mean, when I was in my 20s, I was working 2 jobs. I did retail on the side. Even as a kid, I could sit there and figure out what my bill was going to be. Like if I was buying something, I could figure up the cost and the tax before the fucking register did.
You had to back then.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
but yeah, you're right. It was a thing. I mean, you don't have to do that now. You just whip out the card.
Yeah,
and don't forget to tell everybody there's the fact that all that digital stuff, it can get frozen fast.
Mm-hmm. Cash.
Yeah, cash can't. And without you can just walk up one day and bloop, decline. Why? What's going on? I see I have money in the bank. You do, but it's on hold.
Not anymore. We're holding it. And now also, y'all go back and watch some of these videos where people get fucked out of cash they've got because they don't trust banks, and see some of the fuckery that law enforcement does to seize that money. Even though it's blatantly clear the money's not illegal, it's not anything illegal. It's just the person has a large sum of cash. They've got receipts to prove it's theirs, but the government is trying to find a way to justify them seizing it.
Mm-hmm.
And they will find a way. It happens all the fucking time. You need to educate yourself. The government's not your friend.
No.
I'm not. And again, I'm not. As I said at the beginning of this video about all the government fuckery and about the fact, everything here is for entertainment purposes only. It is. I'm not trying to turn you against our government. I'm not trying to get you turn you against our nation or anything else. What I'm trying to get you to do is turn against the mindset that is being pushed. Wake the fuck up. Don't be woke. Be awakened.
Yeah.
We need to patent that and put on a shirt.
Yeah.
So, just a thought. That being said, I'm sorry, I digress. Has anybody been paying attention to Texas?
Yeah.
I mean, come on, guys. Texas, the Lone Star State. There's a reason. I know Saxman shared a link earlier today. And I'm just going to say my 2 cents, then Saxman, you can take it away. If the Fed, if I've read it correctly, at one point the federal government said that they needed to federalize the Texas National Guard so they could make them abstain from following Governor Abbott's orders.
Right.
Okay. And the discussion was, well, if that happened, funds would immediately be diverted to Texas Guard to bolster them because they are strictly under the state's control. I don't see how you can federalize National Guard, but I mean, I guess there's some backdoor, crooked-ass way they could do it since they're effectively part of the United States military. They can be spun up in an active duty role. But again, this all comes back, in my opinion, of where the Fed's trying to politicize the DOJ to be their right hand.
Right.
So, Saxman, it's all yours, brother. You know more about it than me.
So, yeah, I was reading that article, and the guy that they were talking about was he's a secessionist in Texas, has been for a while. And this all came about because of, remember back, I think a lot of people saw the video of, the Texas National Guard and the Texas State Guard putting up the razor wire and stuff like that. And then the Fed's coming in and saying, oh, no, and basically cutting it and letting everybody in. That was kind of what prompted this latest wave of, the secessionist movement in Texas, right? Now, I will tell you this. I know that your per diem, if you are deployed with the Texas Guard, right? I think you're given, I'm trying to remember, I think it's either 238 or 283 bucks a day. Okay. That's your per diem. You get paid that every 2 weeks, or actually you get paid it twice a month if you're deployed in Texas as a Texas state guardsman. This guy's wanting to, and Texas State Guard is like a lot of other state guards in the fact that it operates under Texas's military department, right? Which is Texas National Guard and Texas Air National Guard, which both can be federalized. The Texas State Guard cannot. Their commander-in-chief is right now Greg Abbott. Okay. What that guy is wanting to do is basically arm the State Guard and use them as a fully military force. Usually they're like they're put in with National Guard unit and sent on the border, disaster relief, stuff like that. But he's wanting to make them a fully functioning military arm of Texas, which sounds good and would be awesome. But you're going to have to the main problem that you run into is funding.
Right.
So you figure if you have 2,000 guys deployed, right? And even though Texas is one of the largest economies in the world, that's a lot of cash that you got to pay out at one time.
Well, question. Not to interrupt you, but when you said funding, and I know this is a totally off the wall question, but I'm gonna throw it out there. Isn't there a one of the, I'm not gonna say mint, but one of the places that prints money, isn't there one in Dallas?
I think there was a mint, or I know there's a Federal Reserve Bank in Dallas.
That's what I mean. Isn't there a Federal Reserve in Dallas?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be the devil's advocate here. if fuckery ensued, what would stop? I mean, if you want to really go full Civil War here, and I don't, the movie Civil War, from everything I've heard, is totally a piece of trash because they didn't seize what they should have in it as far as the story.
Right.
I don't know. I haven't watched it. But if you were wanting to go, let's say, full scorched earth with the federal government, and I was Texas, the first thing I'd do is seize all the federal assets in the state of Texas.
Yeah, you'd have to. I mean,
But that includes the Federal Reserve.
yeah.
What does the Federal Reserve have?
Well, they have cash money on hand. The thing is, and this is totally hypothetical.
Yes, this is hypothetical. We're just putting
Right. If you were, yeah. If you were hypothetically going to do that and Texas seized American money, would that American currency be legal tender in Texas anymore?
It would until Texas got its actual sovereignty. Because ultimately, think back to the Civil War, or no, not the Civil War, think back to the Revolutionary War, all right? When the colonists were fighting the king in Britain and England, okay? The generals for the British understood that at some point, commerce would return between the Commonwealth and the colonies.
Right.
Everything was going to be, they were looking at how the war was going to disrupt business per se until it was resolved. But once it was resolved, everything would return to normal. Does that make sense? Kind of like trade and everything else. Well, it'd be the same thing. With Texas, yes, the money would be legal tender for the moment. But what would happen is eventually, if Texas, seceded and became its own republic per se, then eventually they would immediately have to institute their own currency, their own. Multiple things. If you think about it, they would no longer. They could create their own stock market. They could create their own currency, their own. I mean, there's numerous things.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean. Yes, yeah, that's true. Yeah, like I said, if you've got a mint there, you can make money. You can make it your own.
Yeah, I mean, that's what the damn Fed's doing now. They just keep printing money, figuring that's how you get out of debt and get out of damn recession. Exactly. So how's that any different? I mean, I'm just using a page out of their playbook, putting it hypothetically out there.
Right.
Okay. That dumb bitch Janet Yellen, the one that looks like she fell asleep in her pudding while she was sitting at the Golden Corral. That, she tries to sit there and push all the bullshit. Oh, the economy's great. It's great. Yeah. And you're sitting there looking at her like, are you that fucking ignorant? Do you go to the same shock therapist that Bedshitter goes to?
She must.
Because, do you hang out with the same voodoo priest that keeps Nancy Pelosi and fucking Mad Maxine alive? I mean, help me to understand where your lunacy comes from.
Right.
Because there is nothing based in fact, economically, scientifically, or just in fucking reality that our economy is in good shape. You're trying to push a fucking narrative to get all the sheep to just say, well, okay, I'm going to keep going to Starbucks watching Dance with the Stars because everything's all right.
Right.
No. Fuck
no.
No.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, before I forget about it, this chapped my ass the other day. So I'm scrolling through Instagram, and this thing pops up, and this lady is talking about how she's so pissed off because she had to spend $50 of her own money. She had to go into $50 of her own cash.
Oh, hell.
Yeah, because she bought so many groceries at the store that it didn't cover on EBT, so she had to pay her own money.
Well, ain't that some shit?
Yeah.
Well, damn, and I'll bet you she still votes for Bedshitter. What do you bet?
Yeah. Why would you not vote Democrat?
Well, I mean, we've had this discussion many times. How many times have me and you, and I'm sure many people here in the chat, How many times you been in a fucking grocery store or a Wally World, God forbid, and you've got somebody in front of you, doesn't matter what nationality or creed or whatever they are, they're sitting there, got a bunch of those damn EBT, they got an EBT card, they got a bunch of them damn food stamp things, and they've got more damn groceries and better groceries than you got.
Oh yeah.
And when they have to go into their own money, they get pissed off. If you ever notice that,
Oh yeah.
they get bent because then they start scrambling, pulling out wads of damn sweaty dollar bills and shit from places they shouldn't be.
Right.
And they start having to count that shit out. They start getting aggravated. And it's like, there's a problem here. There's something is broken. All right. Especially when, and I know I'm on a damn tangent here, but everybody has seen this and felt this. You're sitting there and you're scratching your head saying, how in the fuck, if I got 2 bags of groceries, it cost me as much as 2 fucking carts did in 2020.
Right.
And Fred, Quantavius, Dung Pang, whoever the fuck it is in front of you using EBT, and they're wheeling all that shit out, climbing up into a damn vehicle that's newer than yours and trick the fuck out, and got damn 3 or 4 rugrats hanging off of them. And you're going, what the fuck?
Yeah.
That's your tax dollars at work, thanks to the fucktards in DC. That's the shit we've allowed to happen, and they do that to ensure they stay in office. And don't think that the Republican Party is any better, because they're not. Half those motherfuckers are Democrats in sheep's clothing.
Oh yeah.
The only reason they're a Republican is because they wanted to get in on the fuckery. So they ran as a Republican to get their foot in the door, only to support the very shit that they're supposed to not support.
Yeah, because it's so super easy to get out there and spend other people's money.
Yeah.
You know.
Absolutely. You know, and it sucks because it shouldn't be that way. They should not be able to pass any national policy without us having input.
Right.
Period. If there's something they're wanting to consider passing, that should have to go before the people. If you want to implement sending money to Ukraine to support Dick Piano and his crooked regime, so they got their Maseratis and security teams and can hit the nightclubs with the hookers and blow, that should go before the people.
Yeah.
Not politicians.
Isn't that taxation and spending without representation?
Pretty much.
Yeah. Hey.
I mean, I think we're there, buddy. Yeah. Looks that way to me.
But yeah, so going back to that Texas thing, it's interesting. Like I said, you had the Patriot movement back in the 90s down there. And then you had the Tea Party. But man, and I don't know whether this is by design to basically another one of those leftist, let's let them fall into this trap, or it's an actual groundswell. But you're seeing more and more talk about leaving. Mm-hmm. And I guarantee you, if this next election turns out poorly, you're going to see a whole lot more of that, and that could turn ugly quick.
Well, here's the thing I found funny about that article, brother. Did you see where the article was from?
No.
Newsweek.
Oh, yeah.
Leftist rag, okay? Yeah. They're trying to tell you that 27% of Texans support secession. I'm here to tell you, and I'm not even a fucking Texan, that's a lie. I guarantee you, and you correct me if I'm wrong, Sex Man, I'll bet you over half that fucking state says, let's get the fuck out of Dodge.
Oh yeah, I mean it's what's weird. Was not weird, but it is funny how Texas is built politically like it's a picture of the country on both sides. Well, kind of a picture of the country, but you go way west or way east, it's red. I mean, red, red. And
Mhm.
those folks, yeah, they would much rather either be on their own or be on their own. And it's that swath that goes Dallas, Fort Worth, Austin, um, parts of Waco, all the way down to the coast. Uh, that is your blue line.
Yep.
Um, and yeah, you're right. I think over most of the population there um, that has either been born and raised or escaped, escaped New York, as it were. Um, those people, yeah, it's why sit here and fester and make this a New York or a DC uh,
Portland.
or Portland or Los Angeles, you know?
Yeah, I agree. And you got to also take consideration too that if Newsweek conducted any survey, it was done at a liberal arts school with a bunch of kids that had nose rings, pink hair, and didn't know what fucking gender they were.
Right.
I guarantee you that made up 70% of who they interviewed.
Or they got it from Texas Tribune, which is the bluest rag in Texas.
Well, maybe, but I don't see them going to a local anything because that's like a step down for them and their lofty bullshit.
Right.
But you may be right too there. Who knows? Um, I don't want to keep Vanguard much longer. I know he's trying to do this remotely, so we'll go ahead and try and wrap things up. I want to say I appreciate all of you being here with us tonight. I hope you enjoyed the show. I know we got on some tangents, but I think we covered the subject pretty good. At least gave you an understanding. I encourage each and every one of you, if you're wanting to know more about what we talked about, whether it's the Texas Secession or the Doomsday Book, do your research. Look it up. Check the shit out for yourselves. Um, they're both very real. Um, one is a text that's out there and it's being used as a guideline, which is scary as hell. With a government, we have it's completely out of control.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to take a big ass pipe and put it in the spokes fast. And the other thing, the situation with Texas, it's a fluid thing that could change at any time. And the bad thing is that if they do ever decide to secede, it will not be pretty.
No, it'll be ugly.
That will be the match that starts a true Civil War 2.0.
Yeah.
You can say what you want, but I'm telling you. With that, I'm gonna shut up, Sax Man. I'm gonna give you the floor and let you share some parting pearls of wisdom.
Oh Lord. I will just leave you with what we've been saying for the past couple of shows is uh, instead of don't trust your government, be your government. Get involved. Pull a Vanguard. Start going to these meetings and stuff like that. That may affect you. Maybe not right now, but down the road. Because I guarantee you, these cities have their eyes. I mean, they're licking their lips, looking at it, country folks. Yep, because there's dollars involved, and there's money to be given away to folks. Uh, you know, uh, but yeah, um, get involved, and maybe we can right this ship.
Absolutely.
That's what I got.
All right, brother. Well said. As I said earlier, be awakened. Don't be woke. Live that. Learn that. Do that. It's time for folks to start waking the fuck up and seeing things for what they are. Don't be a cog.
Right.
Don't be a sheep. be a thinking adversary. Going forward, be a thinking adversary. Again, I'm not telling anybody to go commit any crimes or anything else. I'm just saying don't just roll over or argue with something and then when they give you grief, just okay. No. No.
No.
Speak up. Be a voice. Like he said, like Vanguard said, go to this local shit. Listen to the fuckery they're trying to implement. If there's an election and it's local election, whatever, get your ass up off the damn lazy boy and carry yourself the fuck to the election place and vote. Before you go, get a sample ballot and do your fucking research. Okay? Be an informed voter. That's where it starts, guys. It's not difficult.
Great.
I know somebody said, "Oh, I want to do jury duty." So you're going to worry about jury duty, and to hell with the country. Really? Come on. You got to give me a better one than that.
Right.
That being said, again, thank all of you for being here. Thank you for putting up with me and Sax Man. It's been a blast. God willing, Vanguard will be here next Tuesday, and we will get some shit stirred up. He has been missed. I hope he makes it back. And I want all of you to try and enjoy the remainder of this week. Have a good weekend. Stay safe and healthy, and we'll catch you on the flip side.
All right. Good night,
Good night,
y'all.
everyone.